was that?
I just
Squad which has 4, and a team which has 2, and a leader which has 1. So that's about the biggest legal. It's not really legal, but that's the biggest sort of safe stack that you can have. You can overstack. Like I meant what I said. I'm not particularly good at this game. I just like to play it. All right, I'll continue moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they will stop there. One, 2, 3, 4. They will stop.
okay. I'm gonna bring some. I'm gonna bring some guys on.
Okay. So they can come in to any palm hex, any building hex, any brush hex, and any cave within 8 of your side of the board.
All right, I'm gonna bring him in right there.
Now, when you bring a Japanese unit into a cave, you have to say, are they in or out of the cave, by the way?
Now I know if they're in the cave, they probably get +4 cover, but does that hurt their shooting ability?
No, they should always be in the cave. The way that I usually play is we assume you're in the cave, and if you're not in the cave, for any particular reason, we figure out a way to mark that on the map. Because the way the cave markers work in this module, you can't really like put them on top of. They're sort of translucent. So, does that make sense to you?
Yeah. So you're doing a move action, and now there's this rule called Opfire, which I guess I don't remember reading about that one.
There is, except I haven't moved in your line of sight yet. If I move again, they'll be able to take a shot, but I haven't moved yet.
Oh, well, palms block line of sight.
No, they don't. They're a hindrance. They don't block line of sight, but I moved, and then you brought your units in, so now I'd have to move again to trigger an Opfire.
Gotcha. Okay.
Move in your line of sight, which I am actually about to do, so. That's 1, 2, 3. So I am now in your line of sight, so those units, that squad could take a shot at me if it wants to, if you have a card in your hand with a fire order.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
So right-click on the card and, oops, I was going to say, hang on. When you're doing defensive fire, you want to right-click on the card and select Play Action. And then it'll ask you which action, and you pick fire. It'll just put it in the different box for us.
Okay, even though it's order, it's still an action in this case.
That's right. I think in the actual game it even says order/action on the card. I might be wrong about that, but when the order section says fire, you're allowed to use it either as an order or as an action. Okay, so now you got to figure out your firepower, which is 5 for the B Division's firepower, and they get to add the 1 for Sergeant Konburo's leadership. Did you mean to bring a machine gun in?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so bring in a machine gun and put that on top of the B Division, then we'll see how fire groups work.
I'm not good at moving these things around. So I got 7 for the machine gun. I guess that does not add on top of the 5, right? So it's 8 total?
That's correct. So the machine gun is 7, and then it gets 1 for Sergeant Konburo, so it becomes an 8. So in a fire group, you pick 1 unit to be your lead unit, and then you add +1 for every other unit in the group. And a unit, for fire group purposes, can include a machine gun. So you can use your machine gun as the lead unit and use its 7 +1 for Konburo is 8, and then the B division can join the group and add one more, so that would make a total attack strength of 9.
Oh, so that machine gun is not a weapon; it's a group.
No, it's a weapon. It's possessed by your squad, but you're allowed to use the weapon as the lead firing piece in a fire group.
So 9, and then is there 2 points of hindrance that I subtract?
You only subtract the greatest hindrance. So the palms are 1. You don't add them. You just add it once. So that's a 9. And do I get a benefit for being up on the hill? I think I get. Well, that's in my defense, isn't it, for being on the hill?
Hold on, whoa. He gets a +1 firing downhill, and because he's on a hill, he doesn't get affected by the hindrance because he's above the hindrance.
Oh, that's right. But we're both on the hill.
Who's he firing at?
He's firing at my stack that just jumped up on the hill there.
Okay, so there is no hindrance because it's hill to hill. It's straight
That's
across.
Right. I forgot that. So no hindrance. So you're firing with 7, 8. So you're firing with 9 at me. Ooh, God, that was a mistake. I'm way exposed. Okay, you're gonna hammer me.
So no +1 for hill to hill.
There is no. If you were firing downhill, you'd get +1, but you're not. You're firing just at the same level. But I'm wide open up there. I'm gonna get massacred.
By the way, one more thing about fire group, guys. All units, in order to add their +1, has to also have range to the target. So if Sergeant Comburo was a little bit closer, he would have been able to have added 1 more because of his range.
Yes, thanks for pointing that out. I forgot that. That's why you didn't get the +1 for Sergeant Comburo, because he's out of range.
So do I get 8 or 9?
You get 9. The machine gun is 7, Comburo adds 1, and then the B division adds in, so it's 7, 8, 9.
But what didn't I get?
Sorry, say that again.
What did I miss out on because of the range?
Comburo has a range of 1. If you had been adjacent to me, Comburo would have been able to add his firepower, which is 1, and you would have had, well, he would have been able to join the group for 1 more.
Okay.
So over on the right side where it says die roll, you click the white axis roll button. Ouch, holy shit. You're gonna kill
Nice.
the entire stack. Fuck. You rolled a 12 and you had the initiative card. Fuck, I'm just gonna get wiped out. So that's a 12. So now I have to check morale for my for the units in my stack.
So what are we adding here?
You what?
Am I adding the 9 plus the 12, or how does that work?
Yes, you are. You got a total of 21. I'm going to probably just get killed. So I check the units in any order I want, and so the morale that I start with is what's shown on my counter. Each unit gets to add the lieutenant's command rating to its morale. If I had any cover, if I was smart enough to not be in the open in front of a machine gun, I would add that. So my weapons team will roll first. It has an 8 morale. Lieutenant Thompson gives him 2 more, so they've got a 10. And they roll a 17, so they break, but at least they don't die. If your final number is twice as high as my number, it kills me right out. Or no, maybe it reduces me.
No, it kills you straight out if it's double.
Yeah, okay. Excellent. So if you right-click on your counter, there's a thing called status function, and one of those is break, so I'm going to do that now. So you'll see my weapons team is indicating that it's broken. Now I will roll for my squad, which is a 7 plus the leadership is 9. And that's a 19, which is still break. And now my leader is just a 9. He doesn't get to modify himself. Fuck! That's exactly what I was afraid of. Oh no, I still don't die. Thank goodness. All right, pardon my French. I thought I was playing the Marines. Okay, so now that was a time trigger. So before anything else, before I finish breaking my guy or anything, we immediately do a time trigger event. And so what happens is the time track advances 1. So up along the top of the screen, you'll see the time. And you'll see I moved that 1 forward. And if we were hitting that sudden death number, we'd make a roll to see if the game ended right here and now, but we're not at sudden death. And now the player that triggers the time track reshuffles his discard pile into his draw deck. So I triggered it, so I'm going to go do that. So I shuffled it up. Am I missing anything on the time trigger, guys?
Yeah, the defender gets 1 point.
Ah, how did I forget that? So because you're your posture is defender, every time a time trigger happens, you get a point. So up in the upper right, I showed you the victory point screen. I'm going to right-click on my little box that shows 5, and I'm going to select Axis Victory Point. So you'll see that it went down from 4 to 5.
Did the time track go from 5 to 6?
No, it went from 0 to 1.
Oh, I see now. Okay.
Yeah. And so now we come back and resolve things. So Lieutenant, what's his name there, had a 9 to start with, and he rolled 2 more for 11, so he barely escapes death. But he does break.
Chris, you didn't grab your other 2 cards to shuffle in, bud.
Which 2 cards?
Unless I need to resync. The one on the die roll and the one on the orders?
Oh, I thought they weren't considered discarded until... Yeah, I guess you're right, aren't you?
Yes, sir. They all go.
Okay, I'll go handle that. There they go. All right, well, that was hideous.
Do that again.
Do what?
I'm just teasing. I was saying do that again.
Yeah, trust me, I probably will. Okay, so that's the end of that order. And fortunately for me, when you play a revive order, you don't have to activate anybody, so you can just revive dudes. So I'm going to revive some dudes. So you see that says revive 4. I think of that in terms of points. Like I get 4 revive points. If a unit is broken, it costs 1 point to unbreak it. If it's suppressed, it costs 1 point to unsuppress it. If it's broken and suppressed, it costs 1 point to unsuppress it and 1 point to unbreak it. So I get to unbreak 4 units. And I only have 3 broken ones, so I'll just unbreak them.
Oh, that seemed too easy.
Yeah, I try to always save a good revive card when I'm moving. And again, when it gets time to do it to your units, you right-click on the unit, and under status function, you'll be able to select rally. All right, that was an order. And do I have any other orders to issue?